Hello everyone. In this video we're going to be talking about different ways to optimize your level. And we're going to be focusing on different ways of optimizing through things like level streaming. Or another way to say it is to have different parts of your level being hidden when you don't need to see them, and different parts unhiding when you do. Now, Unity Pro has occlusion features that you can use that work great, but this video is going to cover other ways to do it in case you might be using the free version of Unity. So before we get started in the example here, let's break down our scene and see what exactly we're going to be doing. So in our project file here, we have all the different parts to the level. I've got some materials here that I put on different things in my level. I've got a little model here, a little statue that I'm going to be using for an example. I've got a couple script files. One is for frames per second that doesn't really need to be there. The main one is the level streaming code that we're going to write. Got some textures that go in the level. But most importantly, we have our scene files. You'll notice here I have a persistent level and then level 1, 2, and 3. This does not have to be level 1, 2, and 3. This could be, if you're making a city, this could be block 1, block 2, and block 3. This could be, one big giant skyrise in the city. It could be different layers to a building. If you're doing a 3-story building, level 1 could be the ground floor, level 2 could be the middle floor, and so forth and so on. Separating your files or separating your level into different files is one way to do streaming or level optimization. When your level's too heavy that it can't run smoothly at a smooth frame rate, then you can break it down into different chunks and load those in as needed. Or if you have a team of multiple people working remotely, maybe one person's in New York, one person's in Florida, and one person is in California or something. Everyone can work on their own portion of the level and then load them all into this persistent level. You don't need them in levels either. You could also just hide them in your scene, but even though something's hidden inside your scene, it could still possibly be using processing power for some reason or another. So we're going to go over 3 different examples here, 3 different ways of how to optimize your scene through hiding objects or streaming in objects as well. So the first thing we're going to do is example 1. I'm going to open up level 2 here to show you what's going to happen. Level 2 is the middle of the level. What we're going to do is we're going to start with a persistent level, and in the persistent we're going to immediately load level 1, which is where the player starts. And then based on where you are in the level, we're going to load level 2 and then level 3. And when we're in level 3, we're going to basically get rid of or hide level 1, and then when we're in level 1, we're going to hide level 3, and there's this weird triangle of hidden objects we're going to be doing. But in level 2, which is where we're at right now, we have an item that we're going to be collecting here, basically. So in a level, you can hide objects, okay? So you'll see here in my hierarchy, I have a statue and I have an item trigger. So I'm going to highlight both here real quick. So the idea is that when the player is walking around in this level and they come into the area where the item might be, when you hit this trigger, it's going to turn on the statue here. It's going to make the statue visible. So the overall idea is not necessarily, when doing item collection, you can have items appear. It's more of a broad thought process. If you have all of this stuff here in the hierarchy inside one empty game object, in essence, you could say something like, when the player hits this volume that could be anywhere in the level or around an entire chunk of level, right? You could say when the player hits this item, you want to load the entire level 2 or the entire section of the game. but we're doing it on a smaller scale because we're going to be loading level 2 into the persistent level, and then we're going to be loading the statue in as well. Okay, so we'll get to the code right now for the statue, but the level stuff we'll get to in a second. So we're using Unity 4.3, and we're doing the code in C#, and this is level 2. Okay, sorry. So real simple. We have the code right here. This is all you really need to look at is just this. But we have a on trigger enter, because over here in Unity, if we select this trigger volume, on the box collider we have it set to is trigger. So when the player touches it, it sets off a trigger event. So on trigger enter, meaning when anything collides with this, we're going to check for the name of the object. And if the object's name is item trigger, which we know it is, then we're going to find a game object titled statue and turn on the renderer, meaning it's no longer invisible, you see it. And then we have a light there as well, so we're going to find the light by name and then set the intensity to 1. Okay? Now the question is, if we're colliding with this thing and we're looking for item trigger, where's this code going to go? Well, in this example, all 3 examples, the code is going to be attached to the player because the player is the one navigating through the environment. So he's going to be the one interacting to the point to where we always need to know where he is so that we know when and where to load certain portions of the level. Okay, so again, the code goes on the player in this example. So when the player collides with something, if that something's name is item trigger, show the statue and show the light. When the player no longer touches the item trigger, hide the statue and hide the light. Okay? So let's take a look again. The code would be on the player in our persistent level, and we have the item trigger. When the player touches it, it's called item trigger here. It's going to find statue, and it's going to turn on the mesh renderer, and it's going to take the light, and it's going to adjust the intensity. Okay? As simple as that. So this could be, again, an entire area that you want to load, the entire city block that you want to load, just by hiding it in the exact level that you're already in. Okay? So that's one way to do it. Okay? We're just going to have a volume and a couple of little if statements that says when you touch it, show it. Okay? So then we're going to go to another example using these right here. So what we're going to do is we're going to go back to the persistent level just by double clicking on it. And you'll see here that I have my scene on the right and my game on the left. So what's going to happen is you're going to watch while I play the game, you're going to watch the level pop in and out. Okay? So we have some random things in the hierarchy here. Don't worry about those at this point in time. We're going to discuss those in option number 3. Okay? So basically we have the first person controller, and on that first person controller we have the level streaming code that we're looking at. Okay, so in the level streaming code, what it's saying is it's saying when the level starts, and remember we're in the persistent level, right? Persistent means it's there always. Okay, so it's kind of like a level that can contain other levels. So in this persistent level, we're going to say application.load level additive, load level 1, load level 2, load level 3. And remember, level 2 has that statue in it, okay? What load level additive means is it means add this level, level 1, 2, and 3, into the level that is already open, okay? So when the level starts, load these 3 into the persistent level. And remember, when you hit that trigger volume, show the statue, show the light, and when you don't hit it, turn them off, okay? So again, you watch the scene when I press play, and I'll try to play through it without bumping into too many walls. So when we press play, you saw everything load, but let me find a better spot here so you could see it better. Let me just navigate this a little bit. Alright, so when I press play, the entire level loads. I'm in level 1 right now, or area 1, depending on how you want to stream these in. And now I'm going into level 2. And over here on the game view, we have nothing in this corner. But when I walk forward and hit that trigger volume, the statue shows up and the light shows up. So again, we've now built a persistent level that loads in other levels or other portions of a level, and each one of those levels has other stuff that you can trigger with other volumes. So there's crazy amounts of optimization you can do just by hiding objects or levels and then loading them in on their own. And you'll see that level 1, level 2, and level 3 are all loaded into the level here. Okay? So again, let's take a look at our code. We've got separate files, separate scenes, and we're doing on start, application, load level additive, and then whatever the name of the level is. Okay? And we're doing it all at the same time. Okay? Now, let's take it one step further. Let me comment out these two and just load in level 1. And then I'm going to undo all this code and show you what it does. Hopefully I have not broken it while modifying things. So let's take a look. So we have level 1, and in level 1 we have this empty game object that contains our whole level 1. Level 2, empty game object that has our levels. Level 3, empty game object that has our levels. Okay? So what we've done is, you'll notice our empty game object says level 3 items. Okay, that's just a regular empty group, no big deal. But what we've done is, to make things a little bit easier on ourselves, we've created a tag and we named it level 1 items, level 2, and level 3. So the level 3 items go on a level 3 tag, the level 2 items have a level 2 tag, and so forth. That way we can find it quicker in the code. It's as simple as that. It's nothing too major. So, alright, now when we have our level loaded, you can't really see it because this level's empty, but what we did is we created our level in the persistent, all of them in the persistent, and then we just copied them into new files to make it easier. But what we did is we created the level all in the persistent, so we knew where to put these volumes. So what's going to happen is, this volume here, when the player touches it, is going to load level 2. Okay, and when the player touches either one of these, it's going to load level 3 if you go one way, and load level 1 if you go the other. And then when you're in level 3, if you touch this one, it loads level 2. So these levels are popping in and out constantly based on the code. Okay, so again, the first way is to have something hidden, and when you touch an area, it appears. The second one is to have all the levels loaded at runtime when you start the level. And then this third one is to load them in only when you need them. So let's take a look at the code. Again, we're only going to load level 1 into the persistent. We have this trigger volume that makes that statue pop in and out. So here's the code. Again, this whole script goes on the player, so let's take a look. On the first person controller, we have that level streaming code. Okay? So when we collide with anything, right, it doesn't matter what it is, we're just constantly checking to see when we collide, we're going to say, if the thing you collided with was the volume titled load and unload 1 and 3, so level 1, level 3, right? So when you hit this, which again are these long ones here, right? When you hit these, either one of those, because they have the same name, if level 3 items is null, is not there, it's not in the scene, it does not exist, then load level 3. Okay? Pretty simple. When you hit the trigger that we've set up to load level 3, and level 3 is not there, then load it. Simple as that. So if you remember, in level 3, that level 3 items is a title. Okay? So let's go back to level 3 real quick. So level 3, you'll notice right here the hierarchy, level 3, it's just the title of that game object that we're looking for. Okay? So again, when you hit the right trigger, if it's not there, load it. Then we're going to create a variable for all the level 1 items. And I'm just using the same name over and over again, just so you can see how it works. I might or might not change the variables depending on what I'm doing. So level 1 items, which again we know is the main game object for level 1. We're going to say, okay, take this game object, we're going to find a game object, we're going to find it with a tag called level 1 items. Okay? And then we're going to destroy the level 1 items. So what is this saying? This is saying, again, when you touch the trigger to load level 3, if level 3 is not there, then load level 3. Okay? So since level 3 is not there, then we know as the developer of this game that level 1 is there. So we're going to say, go find the game object with the tag level 1 items and then destroy them. Get them out of the game. Okay? But then we're going to say, wait a minute. All right? If level 3 is not there, add it and delete level 1. However, if you touch the same trigger and level 1 is not there, then that means level 3 is. So let's add level 1 and then delete level 3. Okay? So that takes care of 1 and 3. If 3's there, delete it and add 1. If 1's there, delete it and add 3. But we need one for level 2 as well. So if you hit those little small ones, which were these two here, okay, if you hit those and level 2 does not exist, it's not in the scene, then what do? We add it in. Okay? And then it says, hold on, however, if you hit it and level 2 is there, it's not null, meaning it is there, then delete level 2. Okay, as simple as that. If it's there, delete it. If it's not there, load it. Okay? So again, 3 different types of optimization based on streaming and hiding objects all together. So let's try this. When I push play, oh, it would help if I save my code. So let me just file save here, Control S or Command S and whatnot. Looks like I might need to move it to the right spot real quick. So scripts, level streaming, save. Let's see if that worked. It might have put it in the wrong spot. It looks like it did. So let's take this into scenes and scripts. We will delete this one. Delete. Assets. Drag that into scripts. And then just to make sure, we're going to grab that and put that on the first person controller again. And we're just going to have to fix this real quick. Let's see if we can get that to work. So I did break it. It always happens at the worst possible time. Let's see, missing the script. Let's drag this down here. All right. Let's save our file. Looks like we might have broken something. Let's hit play and see what happens here. All right. So start, load level 1. Triggers this, that. Trigger enter. Oh, we already have a trigger enter. So I'm just going to grab this, copy that. And we'll paste it down here just for fun. So I had the two trigger enters here that would cause an issue. So let's see if that fixed it real quick. Alright, so just to check, first person controller, it has the level streaming code. So when I hit play, I should only see level 1. Okay, so we're in level 1. Now let's run around and let's watch level 2 do what it needs to do. So level 2 pops in when we hit that. Okay, And we're coming around here to find this statue. Level 3 pops in, level 1 disappears. So, no statue, statue, no statue, statue, okay. So now let's go to level 3 and see if level 2 disappears. Alright, and level 2 popped out. So let's go back. Level 2 is back on again. And we'll go back. Statue's there. Statue disappears. And let's go back to level 1 and make sure level 2 disappears as well. Bear with me with all the crazy mouse codes here. Alright, and section 2 disappeared again. Great. So now that everything's working and we have 3 different ways of optimizing our level, let's take a look at something else. How you design your level is a big one. Let's see, so we need to go back to scene 1, level 1. You'll notice here we have these 2 bars. What's happening, and this wall here, what's happening is when the player comes around this first corner, you do not want them to see the level loading down the hallway here, so you need to block it off. Okay. In level 2, same thing. Okay. When we are dealing with the hallways here, where that statue is, we don't necessarily want to see the level 3 load, so we had to block it off again so that it loads before you can see it. Okay, and vice versa from level 3. So let's take a look at doing it the right way and the wrong way and watch how bad it is on the wrong way. So let me maximize my screen here. Okay. So we are in level 1, and you can see that here, doing it the right way, we cannot see level 2 loading, which is awesome. So let's take a look over here, and we come around here, and okay, level 3 is already loaded. Look at that. See that? We're right here at this corner, and it's already loaded. That brown thing in the corner, it's already loaded for us, okay? So we never see it pop in and out. So that's 2 examples, one with blocking it off, the other with not blocking it off by a little edge. Now, let's see if we can go the other way. Around this corner, and it's still there, okay? So you want to make sure that you can see it both ways, right? But you noticed when I went backwards, what happened? Okay? It breaks my level. It breaks my level, right? So now I can see it, it's there. So as long as I never hit this volume, I can always go back between level 1 and level 2. But if I'm running around shooting bad guys or collecting coins or whatever it may be, and I hit this trigger by accident, then you can see that it causes a really jarring mistake, and it breaks the level. If I come over here and I drop through this, I'm going to die. I'm going to fall through the whole level. So you have to make sure when you're setting up all this level streaming that you want it all to work forwards, backwards, left, right, sideways, whatever it may be. Okay? So make sure that no matter how you're optimizing your level through streaming, you want to make sure that everything is blocked off and contains the player appropriately. You don't want them falling through the edges while you're trying to load certain parts of the level. Okay? So, again, what did we do? We found a way to optimize the level by hiding things and then showing them based on trigger volumes. We loaded levels, independent levels, all at the same time, and we loaded one level and then streamed the others in based on other volumes and whatnot that we have touched. So have fun using those 3 different methods, and good luck optimizing your levels.